Well, here I am, standing by the railroad track, waiting to hop a freight. Look, here comes one next. Looks like I'm in luck. Wow! Oh, crap. It's just a lousy old passenger excursion train. Oh well, a freight train will come along sometime soon, right? Anyway, guys, I thought I'd like to try riding the rails for a short time. I might find a boxcar to climb in, and that should be fairly comfortable, but this passenger train, it just won't do. While I'm waiting for that freight to show up, I thought I would tell you the story of the REA Express agency. The story begins with the railroads offering small package delivery service. Up until then, you delivered your packages yourself, on horses, on foot, or you used couriers. The small parcel delivery system was generally a do-it-yourself system until the railroads came into service. You see, the network of railroads spanning the nation offered an opportunity to the railroads to offer small package delivery service besides carload services. The first small parcel express agency in the United States is generally considered to have been started by William Frederick Herndon, who in 1839 began regular trips by rail between New York City and Boston, Massachusetts, as a courier transporting small parcels. He carried currency and other valuables as well. Other parcel express companies came on the scene, but the most significant one was the Wells Fargo Company in 1853. Looking for more revenue, the United States Post Office began to offer parcel delivery service back in 1913. Still, private railway express business increased steadily. The winter of 1917 found America had a coal shortage and a lack of transport to move federal troops and supplies for the Great War. So, on December 26th, President Woodrow Wilson nationalized the railroads in order to move troops, their supplies, and coal. Treasury Secretary William Gibbs McAdoo was appointed Director General of the newly formed United States Railroad Administration, which controlled all significant railroads in the country from December of 1917 to March of 1920. McAdoo proposed that all existing express companies be consolidated into a single company to serve the country's needs. The result was a new company called the American Railway Express Agency, which was formed in July of 1918. The new entity took custody of all the old pooled equipment and property of the existing railroad express companies. The United States Railroad Administration returned the railroads to private ownership and control in 1920, with the exception of the American Railway Express Agency. In March of 1929, the assets and operations of the American Railway Express Agency, Inc. were transferred to Railway Express Agency. REA was then owned by 86 railroads in proportion to the express traffic on their individual lines. No one railroad or group of railroads controlled the agency. Next, REA added this Chicago, Illinois-based refrigerator car line. Then, in 1927, REA began an Air Express division. Well, I gave up on that spot and found another location that is likely to have a freight train come along to see if I can catch a boxcar and ride on west. I'll see if this works out and finish up talking about REA. Things hummed along for the REA Express until the 1950s. During this period, more and more reliable trucks were put on the road, handling full truckloads and small parcels. Then came the refrigerated truck trailer. That cut deeply into the pockets of REA. After World War II, trucks and other vehicles rapidly took over the small parcel delivery system. Railroads were confined to steel tracks, but the automobile and the trucks had the freedom of movement. By 1959, things were beginning to look bleak for REA. So REA negotiated a new contract allowing the use of any mode of transportation. Then came the end of passenger trains. That spelled the beginning of the end for REA. You see, REA's main mover of small parcels was the passenger train. REA then tried piggyback services, but that failed. Another nail in the coffin was the Civil Aeronautics Board. What they did was they ended REA's exclusive contract with the airlines for REA Express. Another change came in 1960. The company's name was changed again to REA Express. In 1969, REA was sold to 5 of its corporate officers. The 5 men, they tried everything they knew, but seeing it was hopeless to keep the company afloat, they made the decision to file for bankruptcy. In November of 1975, REA Express terminated operations. Another page in the American history of transportation had come to an end. American Railway Express Agency, as it was known at first, then later Railway Express Agency, and finally REA Express, slipped quietly into the American history books, along with 8,000 jobs and all of its property. Some of the REA trucks, red diamond signs, and other property still exist today though. Some are in the private hands and others are in museums. REA is also remembered in the countless scale models that have been made over the years, like the Neo scale models GMC Tilt Cab box truck for REA Express. This is the Neo scale models 1960 GMC Steel Tilt Cab box truck for REA Express. That was the newer name for Railway Express Agency. They went by REAX. And then it also has the Beaches Spearmint advertising billboard on it. REA was super big into putting an advertising billboard on every truck. An extra way to make some money from their trucks, rolling billboards. Pretty ingenious, though it did get them into trouble with some companies in New York City because they had a law against advertising for products that weren't in the vehicle. Anyway, it is a resin cab, resin box sitting on a die-cast frame. It comes in this hardboard sleeve with a black plastic display base and a clear plastic lid. There's also in the back of this box a little mirror piece so you can kind of see the passenger side. This is the 1960 GMC. They also did a 1960 Chevrolet version for another company. So that's been done both ways. If you like Chevys, you can get a Chevy. If you like GMC, you can get a GMC. And if you like Railway Express, you really, really need one of these in your collection. It has the V6 logo up there right behind the windshield. It has the V6 logo right there behind the bracket on the mirror. And then you can see the REAX logo on the door handle, GMC on the photo etch piece behind the door on that piece back there. These cabs, in order to cover up the engine and get the seats forward, your feet hang kind of in front of the engine, and the engine's directly under where you sit. And it has 2 seats inside. It has the gear shift, and then it has this little bench behind the cab, and it also has a very nice dashboard. Those parts are all gray, and the steering wheel is nice and white. White steering wheels were very common then. Instead of the Dayton wheels, this truck has 6-hole Bud wheels on the front and 5-hole Bud wheels on the rear.
Not really sure why they didn't put 5 holes up front and 5 holes in the back, but that's what they did. There's a mud flap behind the rear axle on both sides behind those tires to keep the spray down, and then the fender goes down most of the way behind the front wheels. It has little marker lights front and rear. They're red in the back and yellow in the front. Beautiful REAX graphic and REA Express. Now, those are not tampos on these models. They are actually water slide decals. It has this other decal up here that says Beach's Spearmint Candy Coated Gum. Original since 1935. Pretty cool. That was REA trademark. Now let's turn them around to the front. You can see it's got two big individual jewel style headlights. The GMC is a decal inside on that grille, and it has two little marker lights on the outsides of them. The license plate just says commercial 693-746. Not 100% positive, but I would say that's California because it's black with yellow lettering. Very, very famous California license plate right there. You can see the grill intake for the cab right above it, and then you got your two individual turn signals, which are not individual parts. They are just molded into the cab, and then they're painted orange. Then you see there are two photo etched windshield wipers, and then the vacuum formed windows, which gives a real super clear view inside, so you can see everything inside. Be careful with those windshield wipers. You could knock them off pretty easy. Up on top of the box, you can see it says REA Express, and then you have your clearance lights up there. Pretty nice. Roof clearance lights are individual pieces, whereas the ones on the box are just tampoed on. And then you have up here your 2-bell air horn on the driver's side only. Front bumper is REA Express red. Very, very common. And the grille is black. The truck is a beautiful, beautiful green. That was REA's trademark, that dark, dark green. When they changed the REA Express at the very end, they changed to a gray color, and it just wasn't the same. On the passenger side, you get your wheels, mud flaps, and cab, and all that detail is all the same, but the box is different. You see that nice door, and there's also a steps you can climb up. Also on this side, there's the fuel tank, which that was very common on straight trucks. Fuel tank on the passenger side only. One tank in city trucks. Very, very normal for that time period. Even today, one tank is all you really need on a city truck. Round to the back, you see another one of those same commercial license plates. Your brake lights hanging down off the box. Two little marker lights on the bottom of the door, which probably they're just little reflectors. Then marker lights up above that are little cast-in pieces, and then they are tampoed red. REA Express decal there. Nice red bumper. You can also see the two mud flaps back there. They did a really nice job. It's a roll-up door. None of the doors open on these. The cab doesn't tilt, but that's something that you have to deal with resin. Those parts just don't work. They're making a trade-off to make incredibly small runs, like 1,200 pieces is it. Maybe 2,400 pieces of a tooling. So to keep the price around $100, they have to. That's the only way it can be done. No opening parts, no die cast. There's no way you can make a die cast model for $100 and only make 1,200 pieces. It just won't work. So that's why we have these wonderful resin models out there. Going underneath, you can see how they made it a set back axle by just mounting the cab further forward. It says Neo scale models right there up across the front. Made in China is cast into the front axle, and then you got your springs. Bottom of engine detail and transmission detail is there with an axle back here and a differential on it. There's an exhaust pipe coming from under the cab, going out to the muffler, and then a little tailpipe that blows the exhaust down. Gas engine, so that'd be okay. Even a diesel, that'd been alright. It has rear spring suspension, back here, nice detail. Die-cast frame here. Frame is painted black with that rear bumper piece. Actually is not part of the frame, it's part of the box and sits down over the frame. That way you can get the bumper, otherwise this wouldn't really have a bumper on that frame. And then it says right here, 164 GMC Steel Tilt Cab Box Truck 1960. And then there's that really nice tread pattern. They did a super job on this truck. I would put that on my layout as a beautiful truck sitting at a antique truck show, or sitting in somebody's shop where it has been worked on, restored, and it's his baby. Or maybe I would actually make a truck museum and put it in that. Also, if I was doing a period S-gauge railroad, I'd definitely have one of these sitting on the railroad, because REA Express was such a connector with the railroad. They go hand in hand. That, my friends, is the Neo Scale Models 164 scale resin cab, resin box on die-cast frame, 1960 GMC Steel Tilt Cab with box van for REA Express, Railway Express Agency, with a Beach's Spearmint candy-coated gum advertising banner on the box.
Talk about losing an icon. Railway Express Agency was the original UPS and helped shape the nation. Remember REA Express by buying one of these limited edition models with the link in the description below. Supplies are extremely limited, guys, and once they're gone, the link will disappear forever. If you've ever wondered why, resin models have moved into the market. Grab my free report on resin versus die-cast with the link in the description below. Also, be sure to smash that like button, comment on this video, and subscribe to my channel and become a 64th Gear Jammer. I'm Logan, the 64th Gear Jammer Skeele, the founder of Advantage Diecast. And after I ride the rails for a little while, I'll be back with another episode of Toy Talk. Thanks for watching, everyone.